Welcome to the Mike Miller Show.
Will I be a good man? Will I be true? True to myself, be true to you.
Happy Monday, folks. Welcome to the Mike Miller Show, accompanied by the producer extraordinaire, my pal, my sidekick, Jessica Jane. You guys missed, by the way, most of the good stuff, or a lot of the good stuff happens just pre-show or during the breaks or whatever off air. And maybe we will put this on the premium unplugged box set of the show coming out sometime down the road. But we're discussing names of pets before we came on because Jessica has 4 dogs now. And so, yeah, we had some helpful hints there.
Yes, the people names of dogs.
Love it when people name their dogs after people.
Yep.
You have 2 named after people?
All of them are named after people.
Well, that's true, but Zsa Zsa kind of, yeah, Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yeah.
So what's it? Jolie is one, Zsa Zsa.
Uh-huh.
Who are the Wally.
Wally, which actually nobody could decide on his name, so he actually has 3 names. His name is actually Edward Wallace III.
From Braveheart.
Yeah, it just kind of happened.
I think somebody should name a dog Larry.
And I think I know people that have a dog named Larry.
Name Larry.
Oh no, it's Lucy. Sorry. Yeah.
I think Larry'd be awesome. Bob. Well, no, I know people who have a dog named Bob. In fact, which reminds me, the Bob and Tom show, we've talked about it before. I know you guys get it down there. I just don't know if you've ever listened to it because it's here. It's just down the road, actually, but they syndicate it nationally. But Chick McGee, Chick on Bob and Tom, his dog's name is Mrs. Monkey. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and the little one's Lola.
Lola.
Yep.
Great song by the Kinks. All right, so I'll tell you what's not funny. And I can tie this into yard work because, you know, like me and the estate, right? We have a great relationship. So I'm sitting here Saturday morning working. That would be, for those of you new to the show, I guess I'm a contributing editor, although I'm considered to be somewhat of an editor on the inside. And I only say that kind of tongue in cheek because I get a kick out of it. But so I'm sitting here doing some stuff for IJR Saturday morning. And I get up fairly early. And so my wife comes strolling into the kitchen a couple hours later. And she said, did you see that branch? She called it limb that fell. Do you think it hit the house? And there's like in the front yard, like whenever it, blows outside or whatever, there's limbs. So I didn't even look up because I was focusing. And I said, no, I don't think so. And she goes, did you actually see the limb? You sound kind of non-worried. And I said, no. So I get up and I kind of look around the corner and there ash trees. I don't know if you know anything about ash trees because you don't probably have them there, but they die. I don't know. Some of like the old Dutch elm disease thing. Something kills ash trees. And this woods, we live kind of, let's just say at the edge of woods, down at the edge of a cul-de-sac. Lots of ash trees. But at any rate, like, a third of this ash tree falls off, and we knew it was dying. We need to get it cut down anyway. This thing is massive, and it just missed the corner of the house.
Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy.
so I have a chainsaw, as you know, and I went out there. I was going to cut it up, and our fireplaces are gas, but at least haul it and throw it in the woods. And I started into it. I have like a 16-inch bar chainsaw, which may or may not mean anything to you. And this thing is like really dense, and I thought there's no way. So called a tree service. They're going to come out and cut it all down.
Wow.
Chop it up, grind the stump. So that was my excitement for the weekend.
Well, yeah, I'm glad it didn't fall on your house.
Can you just imagine?
Yeah, there's like oak trees in my neighborhood and
Really?
really
You have
old
oak trees down
trees.
there.
Yeah, they're really old oak trees too.
Yeah.
So every time there's like a hurricane or even a tropical storm where everybody like freaks out, like, should we cut the tree down? I don't know. I was like, it's been here like 40 years. Leave it alone. Like,
See, like that's just like I'm almost sounding like, and I've been to Florida, all over Florida, not 100 times, but and I don't even know dozens, but more than a dozen times, and I just never stopped to think that there might be oak trees actually in Florida.
yeah, I think what happened was when people came down, like at least Central Florida, they don't really. I don't think they have them in South Florida at all.
No, I don't
But
think
in
that.
Central Florida, I think because it's mostly in residential neighborhoods,
Yeah.
and they kind of just like grew from there. Literally,
I'll be darned. So people brought them with them.
I think that's what happened, and then
There,
that's how they
there's
have
an
them
oak
all
which
over.
is a crappy oak called a pin oak that that developers use in neighborhoods because they're quick growing and they're cheap. But at any rate, this is not a show about trees. But I just thought it was interesting because she was like, dude, I mean, you act like no big deal, and I was just thinking like branch. This is like a third of a big tree that boom came
Wow.
crashing down.
That's crazy.
All right, so at the bottom of the hour, we have my pal Jennifer Burke on. You guys who have listened to me in various iterations in the past know Jennifer and I and her husband Matthew are pals. They are of the Politistic. Jennifer is about as big a fan as Donald Trump as I am. Actually, she's continuing to snark. She's actually a bigger one. So a lot of Donald Trump stuff going on. So I rang up Jennifer and I said, I know you're going to want to come on and talk, right? She goes, I was hoping you'd ask. So we have her at the bottom of the hour. This thing with this con, have you been paying attention to this? The parents of the serviceman who was killed, in 2004?
Yeah.
And that whole thing going back between Trump and them. We have to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to talk about that with Jennifer. But I think I want to, because we got a lot of Trump stuff today. So, but I think I want to start kind of where we left off, actually where we ran out of time on Friday, because we have the Trump campaign song,
Oh
Jennifer.
gosh, Jessica.
And did I say I called you Jennifer? Didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Did you watch it?
I did. It's so terrible.
It's like you can't unsee. First of all, you guys, you can't unhear it, but it's even worse when you see it, right, Jessica?
It's true. He's really into it.
Oh my gosh! So we're gonna play it anyway. I mean, you have to get the full the full experience by seeing it, but hopefully just by hearing it, you're gonna want to you're gonna want to go to YouTube and see it. How would you describe this guy, Jessica, when you look at him?
An older dude. He kind of looks like the guy that was the creator of Jurassic Park a little bit.
Is that Spielberg?
No. I'm saying like the guy that was like in the movie.
Oh
the
yeah, the
creator.
guy that was actually in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And he's got a big gold cross around his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's sitting at a keyboard or standing at a keyboard. Maybe it's been a while since I watched it. And he's facing the camera. It's probably his own YouTube channel, I would guess.
I would assume. Yeah.
And what makes it even better is the fact that he thinks it's good.
Oh yeah, and he has the background with Trump and Pence.
Oh, it's got the Trump thing all over it. Yeah, and he's just really proud of himself in the lyrics.
And he
I mean,
posted the lyrics. Yeah, the lyrics are on there, like going across this.
he is
like a
really proud of
sing-along.
this. And you know what? Again, we're going to play it because we have to. But you guys, you have to see it. So with no further ado, let's listen to the, and of course it's unofficial, but hopefully the Donalds heard it. This is the Donald Trump campaign song.
Vote for the Donald. Trump is the man. Let's put our nation into his hands. Mike Pence and Donald make a great team. They'll make our nation the greatest it's been. They've got the wisdom, courage, and pride. Criminal Clinton ought to go hide. They know our borders leak like a sieve. They'll build a wall that's high and strong, and it's not gonna give. All those jihadis keep their swords honed. Trump's got the answer to that problem, just send them back home. Terrorist bombings still are a threat. Trump's the solution, you wanna bet. Second Amendment guarantees peace. Firearms protect us, even the weak. Criminals love those weapon-free zones. When guns are banned, then how the hell do we fight with iPhones? Now we've a choice. That choice is sweet. Vote for my man, the Donald Trump, for commander-in-chief. Mike Pence and Donald shooting like stars. They love our freedoms. They'll take us far. Donald's got vision, clear as the day. Even in tough times, Trump knows the way.
It brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. But not for the right reasons.
Yeah, I just it's horrible, but it reminded me a little bit of be it The Voice or obviously originally American Idol, but so if somebody loves you, right? A family member, a significant other, whatever, and you're getting ready, like, you know what, dude, I'm thinking about auditioning for The Voice or American Idol.
Yeah.
They already know you can't sing, but so then they go, well, let me just run through a couple of licks about what you're going to sing. And then they tell you, no, that's good. I think you should do it. And they know you shouldn't because they know how bad it sucks. This guy had to play this for somebody who cares about him before he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it on my YouTube page or what. I don't even know if it's his page. It says Third Eagle Books, which
It looks like his page. His picture's on it.
because that's his picture.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's autoplaying. Stop it. I just went to his
Oh yeah, don't, man. I'm already bleeding from the ears. So he's got like 75,000 views on it, but that is just awful.
It is. I wonder if he thought maybe he would go, because it's so over the top, especially at the end. He like has like the really cheeseburger smile with the thumbs up. I'm like,
he's just so proud of
He's
himself,
serious?
and he
I don't
can't
know.
sing. And it's this simplistic. I mean, the melody is simpler than hot cross buns. I mean, it's just it's perfect. It's perfect. I just hope the Donalds heard it.
I mean, that would be really happy for him.
Yeah, and of course, anybody who cares about him should make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they really should not let him post any more videos like that.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what do you know about this Khan thing?
Well, I know that they made a speech and he was holding up, a copy of the Constitution and saying, Donald Trump's never read it and, saying all kinds of things about Trump. And Trump fired back about the wife didn't even speak, and talking about all that stuff.
It's gotten way out of control, and I'm going to wait to talk about it in depth because that's what Jennifer and I talked about that we will talk about. But I think that this guy was used.
Totally.
And it's, do you?
Oh, totally. I mean, yeah.
And I think it's a shame because he is an honorable guy. I mean, I think he has apologized, has he not, for questioning whether Donald Trump has read the Constitution or not. I think I saw that somewhere.
I don't know. I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, Trump has responded actually gracefully, and you can tell that he didn't write a word of it. And now you have, I don't know, again, wait till the second segment, but you have the Shubat brothers, Waleed Shubat and whomever, the other name escapes me, coming out and suggesting that the Elder Khan is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. The whole thing has gotten very ugly. And I feel for, look, I don't care about Trump. I mean, Trump, I wrote, this is somewhat related. When I'm sitting writing in the morning and I have a thought, as you know, I'm wont to do, I just throw it up on Facebook. And I wrote this morning, I said, I don't know about you, but my dream presidential candidate has always been a drama queen who thrives on creating unnecessary controversy. And you look that up in the dictionary, and there's Donald Trump's picture, because that's who he is and that's what he does. I was not suggesting that this was part of that, but at any rate, I've no defense of him. I mean, you make a bed and you lie in it, but this whole thing is ugly, and it's a shame because it involves a young man who 12 years ago, I think, either stepped on a mine, was blown up by an IED. I want to say in Afghanistan, but it might have been Iraq. So, yeah, kind of a bad thing all the way around.
Yes, and I think it was Afghanistan.
I think you're right.
It's terrible. But it's not unlike, but the Democrats did the same thing the thing is like the Democrats as a whole were like kind of attacking the lady that spoke about, that she lost her son in Benghazi.
Yeah, did you see the meme about that?
I didn't see the meme, but I did hear, while the Republican convention was going on, there was definitely a lot of posts about it and even reporters, questioning her. And so I feel like it did happen on both sides, so it's kind of crazy.
There's a guy who writes for Ray Maddow. Mm-hmm. Ray Maddow's site. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. But anyway, and to your point, okay, what's her name? Patricia Smith. Pat Smith, yeah. The mother of Sean Smith, one of the guys who was killed in Benghazi. Mm-hmm. So he wrote on Maddow's website about that. His headline is RNC manipulates the pain of a grieving mother for partisan gain. All right?
Yeah.
Same guy I don't know how to pronounce his first name. It's Khizr. I'm guessing it's not Kaiser, but whatever it is. But same guy, again, headline, Khan's words won't soon be forgotten. And he goes on glowingly about that. And that guy was used too. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the dichotomy between those two different headlines and that whole kind of school of thought thing, and these are the very people, by the way, Rachel Maddows of the world, the Chris Hayes of the world, the Fareed Zakarias of the world. These are the people that get indignant when you accuse them of political bias.
Yeah, that's the funny thing.
That's the really funny thing. So, and then meantime, in the middle, you have people that, in both cases, who will probably grieve for the rest of their lives about having to bury a child.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like people that try to pretend like they are unbiased it just lowers their credibility. They should just own it. If they're gonna be what they're gonna be, they should just own it. It just speaks to their integrity.
And there is also, and you're right, and there's also a difference between someone who holds oneself up as a, dare I say, objective journalist. Jorge Ramos comes to mind. Between a guy like that and a political hack like Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow, for that matter. I mean, look, if you're a pundit, if you're a political analyst, if you're someone well-respected like Brit Hume, you're paid to share your opinions. But it's the people who hold themselves up as journalists that I abhor. And it's not always blatant. right? I mean, it can be whether it's on CNN or forget MSNBC. I mean, that's a joke when it comes to reputable journalism. And again, not opinion, but journalism. But CNN holds itself up as, quote, the most trusted name in news. And you go all the way to, to the what we originally called broadcast networks, CBS, NBC, ABC. That is far more insidious in my mind because they don't, Peter Jennings, right? Dan Rather, Today, the anchors, they don't come out and talk like Sean Hannity talks, or they don't talk like Rachel Maddow talks. But what they decide to cover, what they decide to ask about it, the follow-up questions that they don't do when they're interviewing a Hillary Clinton versus a Donald Trump, they manipulate the news. People like Sean Hannity and Rachel Maddow stick it in your face. But people who pretend to be objective journalists who aren't objective at all, and that's fine. These are human beings. Nobody knew Walter Cronkite was a flaming liberal, at least kind of just the folks in the country, was a flaming liberal until after he retired, to his credit.
Yeah, and that's what I thought was really good. You have that, we've lost that because everybody wants to sensationalize everything. So it's very one-sided for everybody involved, it seems like. And it's the insidiousness of liberalism creeping into what used to be reputable journalism, and that right there is a problem. Speaking of journalism and Fox News and whatever, let's get to that Hillary clip because I know we have time for that. But so Hillary, her first official interview was a complete shock. First official interview being after she was rightfully positioned to assume the throne in November at the convention last week. Sat down with, of all people, Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. And Chris did not let her up off the mat. We have a short clip as it relates to something near and dear to all of our hearts. So let's listen to Chris grill Hillary, and let's listen to her lie, as she normally does when her lips are moving.
FBI Director James Comey said none of those things that you told the American public were true.
Chris, that's not what I heard Director Comey say, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to, in my view, clarify. Director Comey said that my answers were truthful and what I've said is consistent with what I have told the American people. That there were decisions discussed and made to classify retroactively certain of the emails. I was communicating with over 300 people in my emailing. They certainly did not believe and had no reason to believe that what they were sending was classified. Now, in retrospect, different agencies come in and say, well, it should have been, but that's not what was happening in real time.
But in a congressional hearing on July 7th, Director Comey directly contradicted what you had told the public.
Secretary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on her emails either sent or received. Was that true?
That's not true.
Secretary Clinton said I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
He directly contradicted what... And let me just he not only directly contradicted what you said, he also said in that hearing that you were extremely careless and negligent.
Well, Chris, I looked at the whole transcript of everything that was said, and what I believe is, number one, I made a mistake not using two different email addresses. I have said that, and I repeat it again today. It is certainly not anything that I ever would do again. I take classification seriously. I relied on and had every reason to rely on the judgments of the professionals with whom I worked. And so in retrospect, maybe some people are saying, well, among those 300 people, they made the wrong call. At the time, there was no reason, in my view, to doubt the professionalism and the determination by the people who work every single day on behalf of our country.
That is just classic Clinton. First of all, complete lie. in terms of incomplete lie, in terms of the points that Comey made in the clip that Wallace played for her. Yes, things were marked classified. She continues to say that. So, classic Clinton: lie, obfuscate, and blame other people, right? She shifted blame there, right? All of a sudden, it was, I rely on and I trust these 300 people. I mean, this wasn't, this wasn't Monica Lewinsky scandal, vast right-wing conspiracy stuff, but this was deflect, right? Lie, obfuscate, deflect, and in effect, blame other people. Look, I did the best I could. Certainly I made mistakes, but I did the best I could. And I relied on the expertise of these 300 people. And what do you want me to say? I mean, was that classic Clinton?
Yep, that's what she does. Seriously. And to be condescending about it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I read the transcripts of everything that was said.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And you know what? That's a good point, because Bill Clinton, as good as he was and probably still is, which is why he was always called Slick Willie, he was not condescending like she is.
Exactly.
He didn't play victim, but I mean, if you see any of the clips from when he was gave testimony to, I don't know, it was a grand jury, whatever, but it was during the whole Lewinsky thing, when he perjured himself. I mean, it wasn't humble, but he certainly wasn't condescending. And she is so arrogant and condescending.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't, but that's how she is.
All right, I want to, I think I can do this in about 3 minutes, because this will clean up the whole media thing here. I would think at some point, and don't answer, I mean, you maybe want to get married, have a family, and the whole bit. And if you do get married, you want to have a successful marriage, right?
Yes.
As would anyone. Well, as luck would have it, CNN here, the surprising secret to Bill and Hillary Clinton's marriage.
Sleep with other people and don't care about it.
Let me I have to just read some of this. I'll watch a clock. But Tuesday night, Bill Clinton took the stage at the Democratic National Convention to make the case for another Clinton, the former U.S. Secretary of State and his former First Lady, Hillary Clinton, as the next president of the United States. It was a politically historic speech, first time a former blah, 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 blah. Bill Clinton has always been a gifted orator, and this address was no different. It was powerful, convincing, and heartfelt, but it was more, Jessica, than just a speech to satisfy an agenda. Far more a means to political end. Loving, Jessica, respectful, proud, and very human, his speech spoke volumes not only about his wife, the candidate, but more notably about the modern marriage ideal. What a crock of crap. There was, firstly and undeniably, Jessica, love. Before millions of viewers, Bill Clinton spoke of the first time he saw Hillary. He described in personal detail the qualities about her that he believes make her a good candidate for president, and how they are similar to the qualities that make her a good wife, mother, and friend.
That's ridiculous.
He spoke of why he respects her as a person.
Yeah,
But
totally
also why he
her as a
loves
person.
her. Yeah, but also of why he loves her as a partner. He spoke of their history. Through joy and heartbreak, he said, we built up a lifetime of memories. Yeah, that you did. It was a speech that at times, CNN says, would not have seemed out of place at an anniversary dinner with family and friends in attendance. Oh, my. So it, yeah, I gotta scroll down here just a little bit. You just can't make this stuff. And it's not, because everybody says, you and I talked about this last week, the marriage for show. You think from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Well, CNN disagrees. And it's just not a marriage for show, gifted orator or not. Last night's speech proved that. When Bill Clinton talked about his wife, he did so from the privilege of really knowing her. And it's clear they do far more, Jessica, than simply put up with one another. It said, too, that Bill is one of Hillary's most trusted advisors. Blah, 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 blah. It's easy to judge others' relationships, especially at a time in our social history when many couples are quick to call it quits. And it goes on and on and on. And fortunately or not, this half hour will not, because we got to get out of here. But Jessica, I think you should find this and save it. And then when you get married, you should live by the Clinton Creed. This is Mike Miller. We'll be right back with Jessica. Now I mixed that up. Jennifer Burke.
Will that be true? True to myself, be true to you. The devil.
Doug, I never thought I could go back to school, but when it's this easy, it fits.
I'm right there with you, Jackie, taking classes, watching lectures in the living room on the iPad. It's not hard.
I can be a mom, make dinner, get my classwork done, and not miss a moment with my family. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Jackie Velasquez, and if Doug and I can do this, you can do this too. Higher education with Liberty University Online.
Find out more about completing your college degree at the world's largest Christian university, Liberty University. Get all the details right now. Grab your cell and dial pound 250. When prompted, say the keyword Liberty University.
Training champions for Christ since 1971, Liberty University Online. Find out more about learning online. Dial pound 250, then say the keyword Liberty University.
Liberty University Online with hundreds of degree programs to choose from. Call now, pound 250. Say the keyword Liberty University.
That's pound 250. Say keyword Liberty University.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Welcome back to The Mike Miller Show. As promised, our good pal, and I mean that, Jennifer Burke, the co-founder and CEO of The Politistick, of which we're going to discuss an article, is back. Appreciate it. So it's hot. It's hot in Phoenix.
Yeah, hot is putting it mildly. And not only is it hot, it's a lot more humid than it usually is in the summer. Usually in the summer, we have single-digit humidity, and we've been having like 25% to 40% humidity, which makes it worse.
Yeah, we would die for 25 or 40% here in July or August. But yeah, that's one of the first things, when they sometimes tell people with like respiratory issues and stuff to move to to Mexico or Arizona or whatever because of low humidity.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, but that 25% humidity when you have 110 degrees or 115, and I'm from Texas, so I know humidity. I don't mind humidity, but that humidity it actually feels worse than it is.
So you kind of just don't go outdoors a lot and hang out.
No, you don't hang out at all. Even the pool water is hot.
Wow, man, that's just unbelievable. And I complain, but do you guys have mosquitoes?
No, not really. I mean, I've heard a few people use off, and I'm like, why are you using off? This isn't Texas. I haven't seen a mosquito. There might be a few here and there, but it's nothing like Texas.
I'm going to date myself and show that I can be dragged off. I can drag myself off on some insignificant tangent at the drop of a hat. But back in the day, like there was some product from Avon that people figured out worked as a mosquito repellent.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Jessica probably doesn't even know what Avon is, so it doesn't.
Hey, Avon's still around and going strong. I have a couple of friends that sell it. Yeah. I'll have to ask them what it is, but yeah, I totally forgot about that. It was like an Avon lotion, but for some reason, it did well against mosquitoes.
Yeah. See, to me, Avon was always not as bad as Amway, but as big Amway is, at least was, probably still is, and there were people that were kind of up the food chain who made a lot of money,
right,
doing it, distributors or whatever they call themselves. I never saw any Amway product in anybody's house. I always figured people had warehouses full of it just so they could move up the food chain. But anyway, so that's that. All right, I want to start with you with something I wrote this morning. You and I have something in similar, probably a lot in similarity, but I can tell you do what I do. Like you could be doing something, and if you have a thought and you think it's good enough, you just jump on Facebook and put that thought up.
Right.
And I do that too, and I kind of like to do it. But I put one up this morning. This one's only this is one sentence. And I said, I don't know about you, but my dream presidential candidate has always been a drama queen who thrives on creating unnecessary controversy. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
And of course, I had 2 or 3 Trump fans jump all over me, and I purposely didn't include his name. And I toyed with them. I sometimes like to envision like a hamster in a cage, and you're like sticking a pencil in, screwing with it or something. And I said, I don't remember mentioning Trump. Well, you didn't have to. You didn't have to. But so I mean, that's who he is and what he does. I mean, with the NFL thing, the Megyn Kelly thing. I mean, it's just somebody kind of pushed back at me. I said, and it's a good friend of mine. I mean, actually a friend of mine, not just a Facebook friend. But I said, man, I'm in the middle of 2 articles right here, and I'm kind of fighting the clock on getting one of them published. I said I could sit here all day long and give you examples. I said, but here are a quick few, and of course I gave him a quick few. But so that's who he is. That's what he does. I mean, that's not breaking news, but I want to kind of parlay that into a discussion because I'm not sure that he's doing that about this whole con thing. So, and I'm pretty sure you're on it as well. What are your thoughts about the way this whole thing has laid out with this poor family being dragged to the DNC to talk about their son who was killed in Afghanistan in 2004? And the subsequent fallout and other developments. What's your kind of take on that whole thing?
I didn't understand why Trump would say anything but, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's like, this is what Trump does.
Right.
He will say something that's just absolutely outrageous. For example, I've made my own sacrifices. I created thousands and thousands of jobs, and I built buildings. That was my sacrifice.
Yeah.
As if that compares to, someone losing a child in war. And then the media is going to talk about it. And then you have a Trump surrogate that goes on TV and says, his sacrifice was his 2 marriages. He lost 2 marriages because of his infidelity, and he couldn't keep it in his pants and couldn't keep his eye from wandering. But that was his sacrifice. So then you're going to have the media talking about that. And instead of just simply saying the words, he said it in a statement finally, but he did not say it in that
interview with George
Stephanopoulos.
He didn't write that statement.
In the interview with George Stephanopoulos, he said nothing. He didn't say sorry for your loss, anything. And so, of course, it stays in the news cycle far longer than it should. And then it gives Trump the ammunition to at his rally say the dishonest media. When he's the one feeding the whole rampage.
It always has. In tennis, among other statistics, there's a statistic that they keep called unforced errors, right? Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is the king of unforced errors. I remember Terry Bradshaw years ago, who I happen to like, because I always thought he didn't get a fair shake just in terms of what he accomplished in football. Well, that's a whole other story. But so he was on The Tonight Show talking with it was Leno at the time, and Terry comes across as a nice guy, right? So Jay says, Terry, you're a nice guy. He goes, why can't you stay married? And he laughs, and he looks at him, and he goes, Jay, I just can't not lie. And Donald Trump just can't not be Donald Trump, Jennifer.
Yeah, but don't say on national television if you're a surrogate thinking you're helping Donald Trump.
That's
what his sacrifice was his 2 marriages. I mean, and then I saw another Trump supporter, I don't know, some guy, I don't remember his name, has a show on Spreaker, who said basically along the lines of Donald Trump's McCain's not a war hero, he got captured. I don't like people got captured. It was along those lines. He said, let's be clear, folks. Getting shot or blown up when you're in battle doesn't make you a hero. It just makes you a soldier. And I'm like, well, number one, what the heck kind of thing to say? And number two, I knew I had heard that what Captain Khan did save lives. There was a suspicious vehicle that came up. He told his guys to get down, take cover. He went over to the vehicle, towards the vehicle, waved his arms to tell it to stop, and the terrorists in the vehicle detonated a bomb in it, and he died. But I just don't understand. It's just like, let Hillary Clinton, when this whole thing with the Khan family started, what that took out of the news cycle was the IRS investigating the Clinton Foundation. Mm-hmm. That completely wiped that out of the news cycle. You barely heard anything about that. Now, would the media have covered it anyway? Who knows? But there wasn't, not even many in conservative media talking about it because everyone's talking about this deal with Trump.
And, he just can't help himself. And of course, you got to your point, you got these surrogates running around. It's kind of like with friends like these, who needs enemies, but they're saying the kind of stuff that he would say. I mean, I always have these kind of memes pop into my brain, but when you're in a hole, stop digging. I mean, it's just that they create stuff that, to your point, if you had just issued a statement, lay low, let the thing play out. But again, double negative, or he can't not do it. I mean, he just can't not be Donald Trump and open his mouth or get on Twitter or do whatever he does.
Right, and then for him to say, how dare he? He doesn't have. Let's see. What did he say? How dare he say? Khan's father say that I never read the Constitution.
The Constitution.
He doesn't have a right to say that. Really?
Yeah, he doesn't.
Seriously? And what that brought back memories to me of was Donald Trump saying that if he was president, he's basically going to open up the libel laws and sue media outlets that he says things that are false. And for Trump, anything that's false is anything that makes him look bad, true or not.
That's exactly.
On IJ, I don't know who wrote it. I didn't notice that, but you guys had IJ had an article. People who are defending Trump's comments, attacking the Khan family.
I haven't even seen it yet, but no. It was Justin Green. We talked about it this morning when he was putting it together. At least he did one that included some of that stuff. But you know what? The poor Khan family, and I think similar to Pat Smith, they were both used. By their respective parties. I mean, let's just at least throw that argument out there. I feel for Pat Smith, always have, and I think she's telling the truth. But I don't think either one of them necessarily should have been dragged out at the respective conventions. But did you see? I talked about this earlier. This is kind of floating around the internet. But this guy Steve Bannon, or however you pronounce his last name, who writes for Rachel Maddow's site. He did a story on Pat Smith. Headline was, RNC manipulates the pain of a grieving mother for partisan gain. He does one on the other one, and I don't know how to pronounce the guy's first name, but whatever the pronunciation is, and then Khan, words won't soon be forgotten. The media is having a field day with this.
Oh, as well they should. I mean, one of the things that I said is, this whole stupid Trump fight is just ridiculous, and he just needs to stop it because it just makes him look bad. But I didn't see CNN or other networks have the kind of coverage on the families that lost people at Benghazi as they are over this, or Hillary calling them liars, or recently Hillary saying, well, I can't help it that they misunderstood what I said, and not even owning up to the fact when Brett Baier or is it Chris Wallace? Her with the video of her actually saying that at the podium.
Yeah.
There was not that big flap in the media over that, and there is going to be this difference in the way the media handles it, and Trump should know that. I mean, he totally should understand that and stop. I keep saying, when is Trump going to stop giving Hillary Clinton ammunition?
Yeah. And to your point about that, he should know it. I think, maybe every once in a while, he has to because he knows they keep slamming him. But rather than not to your point, give them ammunition. He keeps being Donald Trump and expecting them to stop. It's like that old definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. I mean, I just don't think that this guy intellectually has it. Yes, he knows how to build buildings, but I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right. I was watching part of his rally, I guess, in Ohio, and I didn't quite know where the guy was going with the story. He was, I guess, some guy talking about Obama when he was in Ohio, and the place wasn't open for breakfast, and he said, I'll wake up early and cook you breakfast even though we're not open, but you have to do this, this, and this. And I still didn't quite understand the story. But the guy said in the end, Donald Trump is a man, when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. And I looked over at Matthew and I said, you mean like when he tells people he's going to pay them?
Yeah,
because that's just opening himself up. I mean, that's been a pattern with Trump. I forget which city it was who Trump refused to pay the security for the extra security required when he overbooked his rally, and there were tons of people outside. There have been other stories of him leaving people out high and dry. They talked about it at the DNC, and then as the DNC is going on, the story comes out about remember the little girls that sang the patriotic song at the Trump rally? He refuses to pay them the $2,500 he promised them. This is after a couple of other things. I'm just like, stop giving the left ammunition. Get yourself together and be the quality person that you're trying to tell us that you are, but your track record isn't showing it.
No, there was one also he wouldn't pay a bill because of he didn't think the air conditioning worked properly or something. But just goes on and on and on. And he does the ammunition. I mean, like we've all said, dude is a target-rich environment, and will continue to be one. But you know what the beauty of this is? This was another just kind of random thought I had, and I put this up earlier too. The beauty of the whole Trump circus, if you really think about it, let's assume he does get his ass handed to him in November, okay? Or even just barely gets beat, somewhere in between. Everybody's going to be to blame except the Donald himself, right?
Exactly.
It's going to be the rigged system. It's going to be the crooked media.
Or Mike Pence.
Mike Pence, the crooked media. And then, of course, and you get this daily because I've seen you talk about it, and I get it as well. His fans are going to be all over those of us conservatives who, with conviction, who again, as I wrote earlier, could not and ultimately, and I'm kind of looking like I'm in November and talking back, ultimately could not and ultimately did not vote for Donald Trump. It's going to be our fault. It's going to be the crooked media. It's going to be the rigged system. None of them, including the Donald himself, are going to blame the Donald himself.
Right, and think about it, Mike. I've talked about this a bunch with Matthew. These same people that are like, Ted Cruz lost. Get over it. He's not with us anymore. Get on the Trump train or get run over. I even had someone said, I saw someone write, take your self-righteous speeches about your principles and stick it up your, what.
Yeah.
But these same people, Bernie Sanders, how dare he support Hillary Clinton after what she did to him, which she herself, at least for the record that we can see, didn't do anything along the lines of what Donald Trump did to Ted Cruz. These same people yelling at people who are not supporting Trump, and some of the people weren't even Cruz supporters. In the beginning, when it winded down, maybe they started becoming Cruz supporters. Are attacking Bernie Sanders for supporting Hillary Clinton and not supporting Trump instead. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense.
Has it occurred to you? It has to me. Has it occurred to you that these people behave at the same level of hypocrisy as we both know liberals do and have for decades?
Definitely.
I don't think there's any question. Do as I say, not as I do. They can call names all day long. I've been called, and I'm assuming you have as well. Yeah, I've been called stuff that I wouldn't say to myself when no one's listening.
And then the reactions as well by I heard, I lived in Washington State for a long time. I still have tons of friends there. And I was on Twitter one night and I saw a friend of mine say, if what Susan Hutchinson, the Washington State GOP chair, if what they're saying she did is true, how dare she do that? She confronted Ted Cruz that night of his speech and called him a traitor to the party and said what he did was inexcusable. Now, when Ted Cruz says vote your conscience and vote for someone who the best person will uphold the Constitution, if in your mind that's not Donald Trump and you're a Trump supporter, that's your issue that you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what you wrote on Facebook this morning when people got their panties in the wad, thinking, oh, you're attacking Trump. I didn't say Trump.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. If the shoe fits, Frank Camp, I don't know if you read any of Frank's stuff on IJ, but Frank, avid supporter of Ted Cruz, very strong Christian. I had him on last week, and he kind of floated the notion. I mean, I'm not sure that he completely believes it, and he did not suggest that he does. But Trump got to a point, however many months back, where he almost said, like, holy crap to himself. I was doing this for publicity, to kind of gin up even more attention to me, so that my next reality show, or if I go back to The Apprentice, can even knock it off the charts even more. And he finds himself in the holy crap situation. So then we were kind of laughing about it, but suggesting that Trump says to himself, I have to, I got to get out of this. I got to find a way, because I don't really want to do this, but I got to make it look like it was everybody else's fault, not mine.
Yep. That's why he constantly, looks like he's trying to self-implode. Yeah, I forget the girl's name who was hired to work on a Trump super PAC, run by Trump people. It was around back when he was railing against super PACs, but he just got, I guess, kind of kept it on the down low so he could rail against super PACs. Then after the primary was over, then super PACs are great. But she's the one that said, Donald Trump never went in this to win. He was going to be the opposition candidate. He figured he'd get a big following, he'd get some publicity, and then things started spiraling out of control. And then all of a sudden, he was ahead, and his persona is not. He doesn't want to lose, and so he just kept ramping it up. But it is like he's trying to cause self-destruction.
Exactly.
Every single time there's something big news negative about Hillary, Trump does or says something to knock that out of the news.
And as we said, it is set up as such that it'll be everybody else's fault. So I don't know. I think I love that theory. Okay, as always happens when you're on, time flies, but we still got some. I want to talk to you about. Actually, I put this up earlier today on IJ, and I see that your husband Matthew put this up on the Politistick. And by the way, you guys got to go there. The Politistick, Politistick. Jennifer Matthew co-found, Jennifer editor-in-chief, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Headline: Marxist Pope. We veil ours a little bit more, but
he just can't help it.
No, but Matthew, just a tad more. We just veil just a tad more. But Marxist Pope, Islam is peaceful, capitalism is the T word. So obviously I wrote about this, and maybe I should have dragged Matthew on, but speak to this for a minute. I mean, I can't figure this Pope out. I mean, I can. I mean, but it took me a while.
Right. This Pope has done and said so much that just makes you hearken for the days of John Paul II. I mean, I was born and raised Catholic, went to Catholic school for 12, K through 12th grade, was very involved in my church. And a friend of mine from college wrote me and said, man, someone at the Politistick really doesn't like this Pope, do they? And I was like, well,
let's just put
Matthew
down. Hey, let's just put Matthew down as a maybe.
I said, when he says things like this, I mean, and I know, Catholics don't necessarily go one party or another, but some of the things he says and does are just so blatantly socialistic in nature. It's disturbing. And she was like, yeah, I know some of my really good friends from the church that she currently attends have voiced their concern over some of the messages from this Pope. And, I'm sure there are a lot of conservative Catholics that are really, really have to try to distance themselves from the words of the Pope and their actual faith. Because it just doesn't go. I mean, it's just astounding the things. Islam is not bad, but capitalism is.
It's and I wrote it, and maybe Matthew did as well. Skipped it a bit, but I wrote it in the context of these comments were made during a presser aboard the papal plane en route, I believe, back from Poland to Rome, makes no difference, in which he was specifically asked about the terror attack in France, where the 84-year-old priest had his throat slit during Mass, right?
Right.
So they're asking him specifically to talk about that, and he refuses to refer to again, to use his quote, Islamic violence. He says, "I do not like to talk about Islamic violence because every day when I skim the papers, I read about violence in Italy. This one who killed a girlfriend, another killed a mother-in-law, and they are all baptized Catholics. This is the Pope." And then he says, if I talk about Islamic violence, then I also talk about Catholic violence. Not all Muslims are violent, just like not all Catholics are violent. This might as well be Barack Obama speaking.
Right. Have you ever seen the Ben Shapiro video where he tore apart the argument that it's not a minority of Muslims that support jihad and Sharia? It's actually a majority. And when you look at the percentage and you look at the numbers around the world, like the number is astounding. And he goes country by country by country.
I have not.
And he did this. Yeah, he did this a couple months ago. Wonder if I can find it. We wrote something. We wrote something about it. In fact, it reminds me. I needed to put it up as a flashback. But yeah, it's very disturbing what the Pope will say.
I want to get this in real quick for people who are incensed by this listening. Then he talked about capitalism. Again, this is in the same presser, right? Refuses to discuss Islamic, he calls it violence, terrorism. So he says of capitalism, and he's actually talking about free markets, he goes, quote, "When you place at the center of the world economy the, quote, God of money, that's terrorism against all humanity." Doesn't flinch, Jennifer, at using the T word when it comes to talking about free markets and the economy.
Yeah, capitalism, the one system of that has pulled people from poverty, that has changed the world. I mean, if it weren't for capitalism, think about all the things that we would not have. And socialism, and look at the destruction that's going on. I have a friend from Venezuela. He moved here his family moved here when he was 12. And so he remembers it vividly, everything that was going on, and follows it very closely. And he says, people need to stop talking about the European system of socialism and talk about the Venezuelan system of socialism.
Yeah, right.
I mean, because it's bad when you tell your people, if you're hungry, to eat rocks, which actually happened.
Yeah,
they were actually told. Then that's disturbing, and that's
better
than capitalism.
And you know what? Yeah, and you know what? European socialism, as it relates to Greece, I'm going to look that up and see how that's going. You know what else is the hypocrisy of the left, and I think that was the byline on the very first blog I ever wrote. They abhor and trash capitalism and free markets and the economy. Yet when you look to downtrodden third world countries, where is the first place everybody comes, including these high and mighty, arrogant liberals, to get money to bail out those that don't do for themselves?
Well, and then look at there's this direct sell.
Barbie, did we lose her?
I didn't think we did, but it shows she's still on.
Yeah.
That's
Jennifer,
right.
Are you there?
I guess not.
I think maybe we lost her. That's a shame, but we're like under a minute. So I was going to ask her, although we did pimp, as we pimp ourselves, the Politistick, and we'll probably find out after we get off air. What do we got, like 30 seconds or something?
We got a little less than a minute. It's like about 45 seconds right now.
Yeah, so she shows on air.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Anyway.
Back? I think it knocked me off when my phone rang.
All right, we have under a minute. Jessica, let's take it maybe an extra minute because, yeah, something happened there. So you were mid-sentence.
So I was saying there's this direct selling company, Carol Anderson, Cabby. She started off as a Nordstrom designer, but she started off her career, when she was younger, she worked with Young Life Christian organization. So she has this Heart of Cabby Foundation. And one of the things she does with the money that's there is help women in these, third world poverty stricken countries with microloans to start a business, a fruit stand, or a basket weaving, or something that really helps to turn their life around. And so you have these women in these third world countries that are finally able to provide something for their families. Why? Because, you know, they found someone to help them start a business, which is capitalism, and it's changed their life. Yet we're supposed to believe it's bad.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, just as, you know, friends through the years have tried to argue with liberals in general, once you try to apply logic, statistics, facts, or history to their argument, it's like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall.
Right.
It really is. All right, so we got to get out of here. So we talked about the Politistick. How else shall people find you, listen to you, Twitter, whatever?
Okay, you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/thepolitistick, facebook.com/politistic, POLITI stick. And I'd also encourage people to go to our news aggregating website, The Liberty Daily.
That's right.
.com, which is something that's really taken off. It was Connie Burton, a state senator from Texas, tweeted it out one day, and then it's just kind of grown from there. You know, caught a lot of attention after that.
I have not bookmarked that, and we talked about it last time, and I'm going to as we speak. So, Jennifer, again, thanks. I said at the top, kind of short notice, but I knew that kind of what's going on right now, you wouldn't mind coming on and venting.
Always a pleasure.
All right, man. I love you. See you guys. Tell your husband hello.
I will. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. I'm glad we got her back for that close.
Yep, that was good.
All right, let's get out of here. We'll be back Wednesday. Let's play the fun music, and this is Mike and Jessica. We'll see you in a couple of days.
I think it's time to get away.